Let's watch a video.
I didn't know you were married.
It didn't work out.
Okay, so I'm old enough to remember this show when it came out. I don't remember a super ton about it. Watching it when I was younger. I don't even remember how old I was when it came out, but I did like it.
I don't know why I ever married you.
Good day and good night. Welcome back to the High and Low Retrospective, the place where we rewind the reels and rewatch the shows that dared to be smarter than the room they were in.
Okay.
Today we're talking about a sitcom that didn't fail because it was bad. It failed because it was too sharp.
Is it even funny to think about sitcoms anymore? Do the kids know about sitcoms? And it's especially funny to think about a cartoon as a sitcom.
Too self-aware, too early. This one's about The Critic, the animated series that skewered Hollywood, offended network executives, and quietly became one of the most influential cult shows of the 19th.
You know, it is completely insane how the movie industry has just completely imploded. I mean, streaming destroyed the movie industry. And for some reason, not to get off topic too much, but for some reason, like all these movie companies decided they wanted to go, or all these like networks decided they want to go all in on streaming. And then instead of selling tickets for these movies that they spent hundreds of millions of dollars making, they just want to send it straight to streaming and rely on licensing or really just their own subscribers to pay for it. I don't get it. It's bizarre.
90s.
Completely bizarre.
Saturday morning, wake up to Fox Kids.
Oh yeah, the cartoons of my youth. Here they are.
By
I know all those.
1994, animated television was in the middle of an identity crisis. On one side, you had family-friendly animation, safe, colorful, merchandisable.
Yep,
and on
yep.
the other end, a cultural disruptor that had cracked open the door for adult animation.
Get bent.
The Simpsons.
Suck an egg. Did he say suck an egg, or am I just imagining that? He did say get
The
bent.
Simpsons proved cartoons could be smart, satirical, and primetime viable.
The Simpsons were
But it
very
also
funny.
created a paradox.
You know what's funny? I seem to recall that The Simpsons, did Bart would say, you know, that sucks. This sucks. Like to me as a kid, sucks was like a curse word. I know it sounds crazy today because everybody cusses all the time, but it's like to say that sucks was like, you know, saying a bad word to me as a kid.
Networks wanted another Simpsons without understanding why it worked in the first place. Into that gap walked The Critic. Not a family sitcom, not a workplace comedy, but a show about media criticism itself, aimed directly at Hollywood, celebrity culture, and the emptiness behind prestige entertainment. It was a cartoon about taste, and that made it dangerous. At the center of the show was Jay Sherman, a balding, insecure New York film critic with a Pulitzer Prize and no social grace. Voiced by the legendary John Lovitz, Jay wasn't cool. He wasn't aspirational.
John Lovitz from Saturday Night Live, if you don't know.
He wasn't even particularly likable. He was right. Each episode revolved around Jay.
Oh man, isn't the worst thing in the world someone who is unlikable but always right? People just want to kill a person like
Doing
that.
terrible movies, navigating network politics, and struggling
You might hate me, but I'm right all the time. That is the worst two qualities to have together.
to exist in an industry that rewards hype over honesty. And that was the problem. The Critic didn't punch down. It punched laterally. Ad studios, awards culture, celebrity vanity, and the machinery of
This is making me want to go back and watch The Critic.
Hollywood itself.
We got a great show tonight, I guess, the same guest Letterman had last night.
Soon, I'm sorry. I just can't get past this problem with your age. You know, 22 is just too old for me.
Oof.
This wasn't satire for kids sneaking cartoons late at night. This was satire for adults who read film reviews, understood inside jokes, and knew the industry was hollow long before Twitter made it obvious.
Hey, pal. For $10, I'll let you watch me stand over a steam vent.
Oh my gosh. You get sued for that today.
The Critic was created by Al Jean and Mike Reese, both veterans of The Simpsons writing room.
Okay.
They knew
I
how
didn't
to
know
do
that.
Character-driven comedy. They knew how to write jokes that landed on multiple levels. They knew exactly how Hollywood worked because they were inside it. The show was initially...
You know, this show was so much smarter than... times change, it's fine, but does it feel like everything's getting dumber? Does it feel like people don't read? Does it feel like videos? Whatever. Let's just go on. Let's just go on. Let's not think about that right now.
With what to do with it. The humor was too acidic. The references too specific. The protagonist too sad. It didn't test well. It didn't market cleanly, and it didn't care.
I thought you were taking Kathy out tonight.
Why do they call it taking out? I took her to a restaurant. It wasn't out, it was in.
Jay Sherman's
Wow.
signature
That's a perfect Seinfeld joke.
line
It stinks.
became the show's calling card, but it also became its curse. Because the critic wasn't just critiquing fictional movies, it was critiquing the very industry airing it. Bad sequels, award.
They sort of had the South Park thing going on. I mean, they could make episodes as fast as South Park, but they could talk about these classic, timeless movies that were always going to be around, and they were just making fun of movies in sort of the same way that South Park makes fun of, everything.
Executive interference, empty spectacle masquerading as art. Networks don't mind satire until the joke is them.
Yeah, maybe it just took them a while to catch on. Like the network is putting this show on, and eventually some executive sees it and like, why in the world are we playing this show that is completely eviscerating us?
Live from Hohokus, New Jersey, it's yesterday night!
After one season, ABC canceled the show. Then
One season?
something unusual happened.
Wow.
Fox, home of The Simpsons, picked it up. Why? Because Matt Groening personally intervened, believing the show deserved another chance. A crossover episode with The Simpsons helped reintroduce Jay Sherman to a broader audience.
I didn't know that.
Meet Jay Sherman, the critic.
Hello.
For a brief moment, it felt like the critic had been saved. But the move exposed a deeper issue. Fox wanted sharper jokes, broader appeal, less sadness, more noise.
In other words, they wanted to take everything interesting that people liked about the show and change it. Wow, where have we seen networks acquire a property and then try to change everything about it and its audience to try to make it more popular, and ultimately that destroys the show? Where have we possibly seen that before? Have we ever seen a thing like that before? I don't know.
What made the critic special, its melancholy, its intelligence, its disdain for mass taste, was exactly what made it hard to sustain.
Right. Something like that, you're walking the razor's edge. You have to have exactly the right people in charge of a show like that, or it can't possibly work. Lightning in a bottle.
Conan O'Brien!
The Critic ran for just 23 episodes across 2 seasons. It didn't fail because it lacked quality. It failed because it demanded a kind of audience that didn't yet exist. In the early 1990s, television still ran on a simple rule: broad appeal or bust.
Right.
Network TV needed shows that could win a time slot, pull families together, and work even if viewers tuned in halfway through an episode.
Because it's really just about selling advertisement, right? I mean, who wants to advertise on The Critic?
The Critic wasn't built for that world. It was niche by design. Its humor relied on media literacy.
A show like this needs patrons. Like Matt Groening saved it because he was a patron of the show, but he couldn't financially sustain it.
Understanding how Hollywood worked, how awards were manufactured, how prestige could be hollow. Jay Sherman wasn't an underdog chasing success. He was a professional critic questioning whether success meant anything at all. That was a hard sell. At the time, film criticism itself was scarce and centralized. It lived mostly in newspaper columns,
Right.
monthly magazines, and on a half-hour
Roger
television
Ebert.
hosted by Siskel and Ebert.
We look at The Critic, the new animated TV series about, can you believe it? A movie critic.
I like it. They got kind of a Siskel and Ebert thing going.
Critics weren't peers, they were gatekeepers, and audiences didn't necessarily trust them. So when the critic centered a depressed, anxious tastemaker who
Wow, it's kind of like back when critics actually mattered, right? Movie criticism now, as far as I know, is a total joke.
hated movies, it didn't feel relatable. It felt antagonistic. Networks didn't know how to
Right.
market it. Audiences didn't know how to place it. And a system built on immediacy and ratings had no patience for a show.
Look, maybe a show like this is only good for, a season. That's all we need. That's all they could do. It just existed in that time for that amount of time, and that's all it had, and that's all we needed.
show asking viewers to think about entertainment
Not everything has to last
while
forever.
consuming it. The result was predictable. Cancellation.
Yeah.
Not for lack of insight, but for lack of alignment.
Yeah. Where do you put a show like The Critic? You know, it needs a very special home.
Is the irony. Everything that made The Critic unworkable in the 90s is exactly what would make it successful now. Today, criticism isn't scarce. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
Podcasts like
Mountains
The
of
Big
it.
Picture, Blank Check,
And
or
corrupted,
The Film
too.
Vault, YouTube essayists like The Nerd Writer or Dan Olson Unfolding Ideas,
Yeah.
TikTok breakdowns by Cinema Joe and Kit Laser, and the social activity on Letterboxd reviews in general. Taste is no longer handed down from a few voices at the top. It's
Right.
negotiated publicly, socially, and constantly.
You know, it's just like everything. I mean, over the last 30 years, the bar for entry for everything is just falling on the floor. Anybody can do anything now, including criticize movies and media, et cetera, et cetera,
We
et
don't
cetera.
just watch movies anymore. We discuss them, we rank them, we
Bill.
interrogate them. In that world, Jay Sherman doesn't feel alien. He feels familiar. He's the podcaster who says what audiences are already thinking. He's the YouTube video essayist who cuts
You know, honestly, probably half of what made this show funny. I know I shouldn't talk too much about it because I remember so little. But probably half of what made this show hilarious was John Lovett's voice.
through the hype. The critic whose
It
honesty earns
stinks.
loyalty, not
It's not a good
resentment.
impression.
More importantly,
Not a good impression.
audiences today understand systems. They know about studio interference, franchise fatigue, award campaigns, and
Yep.
IP exhaustion.
Yep.
Media literacy isn't niche anymore. It's baseline. And unlike the 90s,
Right.
success no longer depends on winning a single time slot. Streaming platforms reward specificity. Cult audiences matter, longevity matters, discourse matters. A show like The Critic wouldn't need mass approval today. It would need its people.
Hey, they just need to, well, you know, some streaming service or YouTube channel or something just needs to start putting it out like it's a new thing. Just, you know, pretend like it never existed.
Even Jay Sherman himself makes more
Start
sense.
it over.
His burnout, cynicism.
Don't even make new
exhaustion
episodes.
feel
Just
less
put
like
the
a
old
joke
ones
and more
back
like
out.
A reflection of how audiences relate to culture in an age of constant content. The show didn't misunderstand viewers. It anticipated them.
Our first film is Mission Impossible 2. Tom Cruise is virtually indestructible in this movie because he has an executive producer credit.
Wow.
In 2000, The Critic briefly returned, not to television, but to the internet, with a set of short webisodes. Long before YouTube, before podcasts, before
Wow, that
online
looks so
criticism
bad.
became a cultural engine, the show had already abandoned broadcast entirely. Once again, it wasn't wrong. It was just early.
Right.
My show has appeared on ABC, as well as the Fox network. Ouch!
So that's the high and low retrospective on The Critic, a show that understood Hollywood before Hollywood was ready to admit it, a cartoon that created intelligence as a feature, not a risk,
Right.
a reminder that some art doesn't fail. It just arrives early.
Right.
Because sometimes the harshest review isn't the one that ends a career, it's the one history agrees with later. Hey, thanks for watching. I appreciate you. Like, comment, and subscribe for more deep dives into the shows that challenge the system and paid the price for it. Until next time, stay critical, stay nostalgic, and remember.
Excuse me, the show's over.
Get away, Pipsqueak.
That's why I love her.
Okay. I like that video. I like thinking about The Critic, a show I haven't seen in a very long time. But yeah, he's right. I mean, it's terrible to have the right opinion 20 years too early, 10 years, whatever. You know, sometimes you're just early to the party, but hey, somebody's got to be first. It's crazy when you think about how bad movies are now. They're just streaming destroyed them. There are too many random movies on all these streaming services that no one's going to watch. I mean, Peacock, Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, I don't know, Tubi. There's probably 40 more. And nobody has time to watch all this stuff, and almost all of it stinks anyway. So why would you even want to watch it? So it's interesting to think about all of the things that are the problems with movies now, how they're ridiculous, how they're overblown, how they're hyped up and they don't meet the hype. All that stuff was visible to anyone who was paying attention 30 years ago, 40 years ago, probably longer than that. So, yeah, I mean, that's interesting. My problem with Hollywood is how they take a property like The Witcher, like Star Wars, like Indiana Jones, something like that. So you have some huge company like Disney who comes along and they buy a property, or maybe something like Lord of the Rings from Amazon, or something like, what was that one? Wheel of Time, Robert Jordan. I used to read those books when I was in high school, okay? You take some property like that with a fan base built in, people who love it, and then you change all this stuff about it that turns it into something that bears no resemblance or very little resemblance to what it was to start with, and you alienate all the people who liked it, and the people that you were trying to appeal to don't really like it either because they were not the fans to start with, and they weren't going to watch your show to start with. So making these changes to appeal to people who are not the fans does not make them your fans. And so, Hollywood, which is not just Hollywood anymore. I mean, movies, I'm saying Hollywood, but movies are made all over the place, and Hollywood is kind of a mess too, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But like just movies in general, whoever it is that is making the decisions on these properties at these big companies, it's like they hate money. It's like they hate success. They have other priorities, whatever it is they're doing. They take these awesome things and then they just completely destroy them, make changes for no reason. They get involved and they make changes for these sort of like pretend metrics like, oh, it needs to appeal to this person. Oh, it needs to appeal to this person. Oh, we need to make this changes so that it does this. And you completely destroy everything that people liked about it to start with. So anyway, whatever. This makes me want to go back and watch The Critic, which, maybe I'll do. Who knows?